1.3. Pretty simple here. We're just going to be refreshing you guys on some of these skills. The first one tells us to distribute when we're solving for a value of for an equation, right? So we're going to distribute. Simplify each side by combining those like terms. Move the variables to one side and then solve. So number one is pretty straightforward. Let's look at number two. All right, so we're going to start with distributing, just like the steps tell us, if my pen will work. So we have 15 minus 9x all over -4 minus 15. And the point is to get x by itself, right? So I'm going to multiply by -4 on both sides. This is going to be positive 60. And then that cancels out. Now I have 15 minus 9x. Bring my 15 to the other side. Now I have 45 equals -9x. So that means that my x has to equal -5, right? If we divide both sides by 9. Let's look at special cases, okay? We didn't have a lot of these in geometry, so just to kind of touch base and remind you what these will look like. We're going to treat them the same as if we don't know if it's a special case, and we're going to distribute. So we have 5 minus 5c plus 8c equals 1 plus 3c. So we have -5 and 8. So that's actually going to be 3c and plus 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring my 5 to this side and my 3c to this side. So if I subtract 5, I will have -4. And then if I subtract 3, I will have 0. So here I have a situation where -4 equals 0. Well, that's not true. -4 does not equal 0. So in this case, we would put a slash through our equal sign and say no solution. Okay, so this is a special case. So let's look at this one. And we're going to distribute our -8. And we have -8x. Oh, sorry, this is a positive 40. And then if I bring my 40 to this side, that cancels out. And if I bring my 8 to this side, that also cancels out. So 0 equals 0 is my answer. Well, that makes sense. 0 does equal 0. So in this case, any solution we put into x would allow this equation to work. So in this case, you would put an infinity sign and say all real numbers. And this is where we'll see that special R with the two lines through it. All right, just a refresher on proportions. With a proportion, right, when we have fractions that equal each other, we are going to cross multiply. So in this case, we have 5 times x plus 4 equals 6. We're going to distribute that 5. And I'm going to bring my 20 to the other side. So now I have a -14. And this side has our 5x. We're going to divide both sides by 5. So now we have x equals -14 over 5. And we're done. Can't really see that answer. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and go down to literal equations, and where we're just moving our variables around to solve for a specific variable. All right, nothing too hard about this. Same rules apply, except we're just not going to have an answer like like x equals this or 5 or whatever. In this case, we're going to have something equaling pi. So let's go ahead and focus on pi. How do we get my 2 and my r to the other side? Well, everything's being multiplied in this case, so we would divide to do the inverse operation, right? I'm going to divide the r and the 2 by both sides. And in this case, this cancels out the 2, this cancels out our r. So now I have c over 2r equals pi, and I'm done.